So, the Underdark is deep beneath the surface of the world that's lying, in a realm of endless labyrinths, tunnels, and caverns, basically where the sun never shines. The Underdark is filled with races and creatures too numerous to count or list, and foremost among these most populated races, the Dark Elves, other known as the Drow, or Drow, however you want to say it. I've heard so many people say Drow or Drow over the years. I don't care. I've always said Drow, so
I hear it as Drow
yeah.
also.
Hated and feared even by their fellow dwellers in the darknesses, the Drow raid other settlements in the Underdark as well as the surface world, taking prisoners back with them. And like I was saying, unfortunately, all of the adventurers, have had this misfortune of falling to such a fate. You guys have all been rendered unconscious with a Drow type of toxic poison. You've all had your necks collared and shackled, and all of you are going to be prisoners that are going to be eventually be sold as slaves or entertainment to the other Dark Elf subterranean cities. Now, am I still breaking up? Hopefully I'm not.
Nope.
We got all of that.
All right, cool. So you guys have been captured by the Drow. You've had the misfortune of this fate, if you want to call it, and now you are in a outpost. You are in a Dark Elf outpost, and you are awaiting transportation to Menzo Berenzon, which is basically the city of spiders and the most popular of all the Drow cities in the Underdark. Now, whether you guys came into the Underdark seeking knowledge, fortune, if you were in a small town, or if you were a city on the surface, you guys were either in the wrong place at the wrong time, or you guys were actually just ripe for prey from one of these Drow raids. So, as you guys are all have been prisoners for about 10 days now, I want each of you to tell me how you were captured. So I'm kind of reversing the role of role-playing from the DM telling you how things are happening to I want the players to tell me how they were captured. So, you guys are all shackled. You're in a cage. There's actually many other prisoners of the Drow there besides yourself. There are deep gnomes. There's other dark elves. There are the Smirfneblin, which are the deep gnomes. There is orcs. There are Kuatoas. There's all kinds of different races that are captured alongside with yourselves. So, Brother Eco, how were you unfortunate, and how were you captured? Was it a raid? How were you captured?
Brother Eco hails from the Nod Temple of Shining Light. He was visiting other monks and acolytes of Dranir, the god of knowledge, in the Moonwood. And upon one of the nights that they were out in the Moonwood, they got raided while we were eating. So I was not the only one captured, but as I look around at the other prisoners, I don't see any other Moonwoods. So I have a feeling that they were killed because they are some of the most hated ones by the Drow due to the Drow and Surface Elves big old war that they've always had through the centuries. So they must have kept me alive because I was not one, but I was captured in the Moonwood.
All right. And all of you have been prisoners for 10 days. So, Mr. Al, how were you captured by the Drow?
Well, I'm from a small wood elven community in the high forest near the Star Mountains, and I'm basically a hunter for my little community. So I spend most of my time out in the forest hunting animals, collecting meat and hides.
Good job so far. I love it.
We're close to the Endless Caverns, and there's rumored to be passage to the Underdark in there. And the deep gnomes had been run out of their home by the Drow and had moved into the Endless Caverns, and they come up. They send a small caravan up, every couple of weeks to do trade with our tribe. Well, I
Oh,
was on my way down to do the trade, and I noticed the caravan. There were about three of them. They had all been slain. And as I was searching, I got surrounded by these drow. Then they
nice.
told me they had actually captured a couple of them and killed those three. And they had me surrounded, so they've now taken me hostage or prisoner, I guess you should say.
No, they cannot. Peanut butter guy. They cannot. Awesome, man. That really good, Deviator. I like that.
Thank you.
So, Miss Edith, how were you captured by the Drow?
Okay, so Edith is originally from on the mountains. Her dad was basically, let's say, out of character, was kind of loosely based on Pai Mei from Kill Bill. So he would teach people how to be assassins, basically. And one day when he came home and saw her, just fooling around with the weaponry, he decided it was time for Edith to learn to do it properly. When she was done with her tiresome, gruesome training, he sent her out. She comes back alive from her adventuring, then she could take over the land and the training. Well, of course, like any child that leaves home for the first time, you get very, very drunk. A lot. And then one thing leads to another, who knows what happened, and you wake up here.
Oh, wow. So your first time out, huh? Oh!
Mm-hmm.
Morvian! How were you captured, Morvian?
I was looking for my sister. She's been missing for a couple of years now, and I've been going around. My mother disappeared.
Nice shirt
looking
he's
for
got
her,
on.
looking
Look at
for
that
my sister,
table-topping shirt. I love
my
it.
younger sister, and I've been kind of trying to find out what happened to them, find any clue of them. As I was going around to various towns along the Sword Coast, I've actually started back in the Dale lands near Hillsfar. I heard reports of people going missing, and while investigating those reports, I myself became missing.
Nice. And last but not least, what about Kara? How was Kara found by the Drow?
Well, Kira was born a noble high elf, and she had a little ruckus past where her mom and dad weren't really proud of her, so they decided that she would get married, and she did. And several hundred years later, her husband went missing. So, and she doesn't really want to find him, but she wants to go out and actually experience the world that she didn't really have the opportunity to do when she was younger. So she decided that she would volunteer and go find him. And so she did, and she went out, and she hopes she doesn't find him. So she's been traveling a bit, and she was probably sitting alone, very naive at a campfire, being at the very wrong place at the very wrong time, and they probably snatched her up on the way to something else.
Very nice. So I'm going to give you guys a quick handout real quick. I'm going to share this with everyone. Now, this is to sort of give you the idea of the surroundings that you're in. I mean, this is very dark. I mean, there's some lights of ghost flames, some lights of fairy fire. So it's not like it's brightly lit. I mean, it is very dark. I mean, lots of light blues, light pastel colors, some pinks, some light reds, some light yellows, purples. So this is basically the surroundings that you've been in for the last 10 days. So you guys can keep that up if you want to or not. But the first thing is everyone here, you guys are all restrained. You're all wearing iron collars. You're connected, all connected, with iron belts, with a short length of chain. And, the goal for you guys, it's no secret. You guys want to get out of here. You guys don't want this to, first off, you guys are in the Drow outpost of Velkenvelv. It's a Velkyn Velv, and it is a Drow outpost, and this is where it's sort of like a hub to where these Drow raids will bring slaves, other prisoners to, and then from there auctions are held, and then the slaves are distributed to the other subterranean cities that the Dark Elves dwell in. So, you're here. There's also, quite a few other prisoners here, like I've already said. Now, in addition to being manacled, you guys, the spellcasters, you do not have any kind of spell everything has been taken from you. You literally have nothing except for the clothes on your back. However, I will say this. You guys have been here for 10 days. And you've been doing tasks around, Velkenvelv, filling water barrels, operating the lifts to the other, there's these huge stalagmites that come down. And these are actually, 30, 40 feet in circumference. So you can actually see windows as these stalagmites and stalactites have been hollowed out, basically for quarters for the other Drow, or for the slaves of where they're being captured and where they're being held. So you guys, you have whatever spells that were memorized to you before your spell books were taken away, your component pouches were taken away, your weapons, your armor, everything. So, and basically, and for any kind of magical caster, you can also tell that there are these symbols and runes that are everywhere around the cells that you're in that actually even prevent you even casting spells. So it's you guys are in pretty bad shape right now. So the manacles, they could possibly be broke. Maybe they could. Maybe you could try to slip out of them. Maybe you could break them. Maybe you can try to pick the lock of these. Same with the collars. It's not of the highest quality. It's not like it's not like the dwarves or the Duergar had forged these. These are very, very shoddy, and these are not for long-term usage. You know what I'm saying? It's for to keep someone bound for a short period of time and then move on. So now that's a little bit about your restraints. So unfortunately, you guys have been captured by the Drow. You guys would not wish this fate upon anyone. Yet here you guys are, locked in a dark cave, the cold heavy weight of metal tight around your throats and your wrists. Like I said, you guys are not alone. There are other prisoners trapped in here with you in this underground outpost far from the light of the sun. Now, the Drow, which are your captors, include a cruel Drow priestess who has introduced herself to you as Mistress Ilvara of House Mizrim. And her name again is Mistress Ilvara of House Mizrim. And she's, over the past several days, you guys have all met her several times. She always is robed in silken garments, and she always has in her companionship with her at the time that you see her, she's always flanked by 2 male Drow. And one of these male Drow you've noticed that he has a massive scars along one side of his face and his neck. Now, the mistress, Ilvara, she likes to impress her will with scourge in hand and always remind all 5 of you and the other prisoners in the other cells that your life now belongs to her. And she tells you, accept your fate, learn to obey, and you may survive. Her words, and when she says this, her words always echo in your memory, and it's really starting to piss you off, number one, and it's making you want to basically plot to escape, because let's face it, you guys don't want to be here forever. We've already talked about that. All right. 10 days, and like I said, over these 10 days that you guys have been locked away, you guys have been under heavy guard. You guys have been performing, menial chores. As I said, operating the lifts here in the Underdark, taking food to the other prisoners, sometimes even cooking the food. And I want everybody to, I'm going to share this with you. In fact, I don't want to share the chart. I want everybody to roll me no, actually, I'll go ahead and share the chart. You guys can go ahead and, you guys see that scavenged possession sheet? Now, over the last 10 days, as all of you have been performing these jobs and tasks, you've all found one item. So I want everyone to roll. At the very top of this, there's the dice, and it will roll a d20 and a d10 together. So everybody go ahead and do that and make notes of what you actually found. Holy cow, Morvian with a 30. Oh my gosh. Wow, that is like clutch, man. Holy cow. Wow, so Morvian, you actually found, as you were, tell me how you found this hand crossbow bolt, and you can even see that it's coated with that same type of icky drow poison that rendered you unconscious during the raid. So, how did you find that bolt, Morvian, on one of your menial tasks, whether it be cooking or cleaning or just tidying up, refilling the water barrels? I don't know. You tell me how you found it.
Well, one of the days there was an attempt to escape. I was working the lift, and a Sverfneblin rushed the lift, and a couple of the Drow guards took shots at him, but one of them missed, and I saw the hand crossbow bolt landed a couple of feet away from me. So while they were grabbing the gnome and dragging him away, I kind of slipped it into my waist.
Perfect. And yeah, you've been able to hold it, and you've been able to hide it, and I guess you buried it in yourself for a couple days.
Yeah, it's underneath my my little bedroll or straw mat that they lay down for me.
Nice. So Edith, you scavenged a flawed carnelian gemstone worth 10 gold pieces. Could be a possibly nice bargaining tool in here somehow. So, how did you find this this piece of carnelian gemstone?
Well, being the mountain dwarf that she is, they put her right to work.
They are doing awesome.
Carving out little holes and everything for sleeping quarters. And so she just found it while mining away and hid it in her beard.
So it is true. The myth does. So that was already debunked. It wasn't debunked. Female dwarves do have beards. Al.
Only the hot ones.
That's true. And Edith is definitely hot. That's for sure. So, Al, how did you find that 5-foot-long strand of silk rope? Interesting item.
Well, the priestess that comes in, her robe is, she's got like these long strands of silk rope as sort of like decorations. And one of the two guys that are following her around all the time had actually stepped on one of the strands on the back, kind of like where it hangs down to the ground, and it fell off, and none of them noticed it. And as they walked away, I just kind of like pocketed it, hid it away from them.
Wow, perfect. Wow, nice job. Brother Echo, man, you found one of these poison crossbow bolts as well. Two people rolled clutch 30s on that table. How did you find this?
Well, the Drow are known for their mistreatment and like to torture the ones. So they found out that they take the prisoners and they line them up on the wall and they start just shooting their crossbows at them for fun. And I was one of the ones that got chained up to be shot at. But with my training that I've been as a monk, the first couple they shot at me, I caught, and they shot a couple at me at one time, and I caught one and pocketed it before I got hit and collapsed. So I was like able to hide it in like my clothes and my cloth after I caught one, and then they just started rained bolts on me. And after that, I just remembered I rolled over and found it again, remembering what I'd done.
So they were basically just having fun with you, toying with you, right?
Yep, just like the Drow love to do.
Yeah, typical Drow. They love to do that. What'd you do? Screw up on a job or something like that? Is that what kind of set it off?
Well, they find the short folk really funny because of the hated. They thought at first I was more of a gnome than a halfling, and they hate the deep gnomes, the snibble that are not too far away.
Oh, yeah.
Always messing with them, interrupting the patrol parties. You know,
Nice,
those
Raz.
elementals that they summon, they hate. So they took it out on me, thinking I was one of the gnomes from the Underdark.
Nice.
I understand that.
Awesome. Good, guys. You guys are fucking nailing it. Good job. You guys are, man. This is really, really good. I'm like taking notes, man. You guys are like, man. You guys are making me work. So, you guys have these scavenged possessions. All of you have one of these. And now, Kara, you have a very interesting little friend that you found. You actually found a living spider about the size of a tarantula. How in the heck did you find this thing?
Well, Drows like spiders. So, I think there are plenty of spiders about in the caves. So when she was working, they had her do like menial jobs, serving and tending to people, which she absolutely loathes, being noble herself. She's not supposed to do that. People are supposed to do that to her. So this little thing, or well, not little, but came crawling up her leg. So she just figured, well, maybe I can use it somehow, and she put it in her pocket, and it actually stayed there.
Nice, very nice. So I want to show you guys, as you guys are in the Drow outpost that's called Velkenvelv. Now I want to show you guys another. I'm going to be sharing a lot of maps with you and whatnot. So as you can see here, I'm going to also sync it up with you. Now at the very bottom of the map, you're going to see that, and unfortunately I don't have the unnumbered version of this map, but as you can see the stalagmites coming down. You guys all know that these stalagmites and stalactites house the Drow and have all kinds of rooms, and you guys are going to be in the second door, and it is a cage door. It is number 11. So, but as for the other locations, you're really not too sure of what these places are. Now, like I said, you guys are in area number 11. So, I talked about you guys have some other prisoners that are being held with you guys. Now, you've seen 10 of these other prisoners, all of you. And you've all, when they feed you guys, they all bring you guys together. That sometimes there's big work parties where you're going to go, where you go out and mine something. And this has been going on for like I said, 10 days. Now, there are, and I'm going to show you what all 10 of these prisoners look like, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about each one of these prisoners. Some of them have kind of struck you as a little odd. Some of them you could actually understand why they've been captured and held prisoner. So the first is Pepito, or Pepito. He is a male Darrow. And here is his portrait, and this is what the Darrow look like. This is Pepito. And he's surprisingly gregarious and talkative. And he demonstrates a keen mind and a disarming manner. There is also Prince Darrin. Now, Prince Darrin is a Quaggoth, and this is Prince Darrin. And he's probably the most menacing-looking prisoner in all of in both of the slave pens. And the other prisoners pretty much kind of leave him alone. A couple of you have tried to speak to him, and he replies in like an urbane Elvish, and claims to be a prince, Prince Darrin, and that's what he looks like. Now, next there is Aldith Feldrin, and Aldith Feldrin is a female shield dwarf scout, and she has actually told you that she is from Gauntlgrim. And Gauntlgrim is to the north, north of Neverwinter. And Aldith is high-spirited and proud. She definitely is proud of her dwarven heritage and all of her people's achievements. And she's trying to help reclaim the ancient dwarven kingdoms. All right, now there's Jimjar. And Jimjar is a Deep Gnome spy or a Smurfneblin. And this is his portrait, Jimjar. And he seems to be a feckless type of roguish character with a devil-may-care attitude. He definitely loves coins and has an obsession with betting on virtually anything and everything. I mean, he's trying to bet with you guys on who can fill the most water barrels, or who can activate the lift. He's very competitive. So that's Jimjar. Now there's Ront. Ront, what do you think Ront is race-wise?
Orc.
Nailed it. This is Ront.
Sure sounds like an orc.
This is Ront. He's a male orc, and this orc hails from the Ice Shield tribe. And Ront told you that he basically fled from the slaughter of a band of orcs at the hands of the dwarves, which then he fell down a shaft and was stuck in this Underdark, and he was captured. He's been here ever since. Alright, so there's Sereth Zezkarit. And Sereth Zezkarit is a Drow. One of the strange, you kind of wonder why he would be kept a Drow. A Drow as a prisoner in a Drow camp. It's actually kind of a little weird, but he's very sullen, and he keeps to himself, and anytime anyone tries to approach him, he just kind of ignores it and just kind of moves away. You know that the Drow have a very high sense of pride. So he has mentioned a couple times that he's disgraced by his imprisonment. But other than that, he's been really quiet. You don't know. He's mysterious. You really don't know a lot about Sereth. Now there's Shushar the Awakened. Shushar the Awakened. He is a Kuatoa. And if you guys don't know what a Kuatoa, that is what a Kuatoa looks like. And Shushar is probably one of the more unusual creatures that you guys have ever met in any of your lives, or as your adventurers as well. You know that these Kuatoa are aquatic, and he basically seems to be like a hermit, and very calm, very peaceful. Kind of, it's actually sort of like a very, very nice Kuatoa. It seems like he's had a very successful life and whatnot. Always talks about the good that's been done. So next, there's Stool.